Hey, this is Vu, and today I'm going to be talking about improving your entry fragging by using entry frag maps. Now, there are two different styles of maps I'm going to be talking about here, which both encompass pretty much every map in rotation, so you can get good practice on any of the maps. Now, more than just improve your entry fragging, these are going to improve the skills that make you a good entry fragger. And the reason I make the distinction there is because you don't need to be an entry fragger to practice this and to get a lot of benefit out of it. You can be a much more passive player, or you can be an opper, and you're still going to benefit because the skills that make you a good entry fragger, primarily crosshair placement and fluid movement, as well as a little bit of map knowledge, will make you better in any position you play. And more than that, it might make you a lot more interested in becoming an entry fragger or entry fragging a lot more often if you know how to do these very well. So there's no reason not to practice this type of thing. Now, the first maps I'm going to be talking about here are made by Jesper, and you can find them in the Steam Community Workshop. He makes pretty much every map in rotation except, I believe, Nuke and Train, which will probably be added a little bit later. And what you do is you can go into any of these maps, for example, Cache, and you can choose a bomb site, you can choose bot difficulty, and you can go in and practice. Now, what you're going to want to be focusing on here is make sure you're not kind of just doing whatever and just kind of being lazy. Otherwise, you're not going to really get much practice out of it. You want to be stopping and clearing every angle as if an opponent is going to be there and trying to kill these bots in the first 2 to 4 shots, imagining they're real players and they could be shooting back, a little bit more consistently. And by doing this, you can both learn a new map. This is especially good for players that are kind of maybe Dust 2 only or something like that, and they want to move on to a new map. You can get an idea of spots that enemies consistently play or commonly play. Even though these are just bots, you still will get an idea. They're placed in common areas. You can get an idea of crosshair placement, and you can get an idea of movement. And of course, this works very well for players that are working on their movement, being able to shoulder peek angles consistently, know when to wide peek, and things like that. Now, the second style of map I'm going to be talking about is going to kind of address the issues that map doesn't. The problem with these maps by Jesper is that you're playing against bots, obviously. So the opponents aren't going to be playing these angles where they're unpeaking, which is some of the hardest things to deal with as a entry fragger. People will peek a spot, unpeak for a few seconds, and then peek out again. And sometimes you'll need to be posted on an angle for a few seconds before moving on to the next one. And these bot maps, they won't punish you for that. So these maps here by boomeo, and in an effort for full disclosure, I'll say I am partnered with boomeo, so I might be a little bit biased. These maps will put you in 1v1s in different areas of the map. So for example, on Overpass here, you can get 1v1s in Connector, Long B, Short B, A Site, bathrooms, and quite a few other areas, and these will go through pretty much every map as well. So what these are going to do is they're going to allow you to kind of go on hard mode, especially when you're on the terrorist side. The counter terrorist is going to know where you are, they're going to be expecting you, and you're going to have to try and clear all of the angles and do it very effectively. So this is kind of, you might even say, bot map on steroids, because you're doing the exact same thing. You're clearing every angle one by one because the opponent could be in a vast variety of different angles. They'll have some idea where they could spawn, however you're not going to know for sure, and you're not going to really have any nades to work with either. So this is going to be very hard to do, and it's going to really work on more than just your crosshair placement and your movement, which are going to be focused on quite a bit, but also on your point-click aim, which is really what makes a great entry fragger. And really, that's, I think, a lot of the reason that some people don't like entry fragging too much is because their point-click aim isn't all that great, and they don't want to make their whole playstyle based around it. So you can work on all of those things that make you a good entry fragger with these two maps, and hopefully these will improve you, and maybe you'll consider entry fragging a little bit more often because of them. Anyways, thanks for watching, and as for the boomeo partnership, it's pretty simple. You guys can go into the description below. There will be a referral link. You can go and check out boomeo, even if you don't want to buy a subscription, which I will get a kickback from. I think it's a pretty legitimate site, and that's why I've partnered with them. as opposed to a ton of different sites that have messaged me and contacted me in the past that have asked for the same. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped.